Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast tonight, 3 people are on the run from police after holding up the Randall Doc James racetrack Thursday morning. The thieves got away with an undisclosed amount of money, and police are looking for any leads the community might have. News 2's Erica Parsons has the story.
There's not a lot of information being released about this robbery that happened at the racetrack. We do know that it happened this morning. There were about 5 employees at the track when this robbery went down, and even though the suspects were armed, thankfully no one was hurt. Casino officials say police are looking into an early morning robbery at the Randall Doc James racetrack.
It happened at the racino, along at the racetrack on or about something after 9.
Witnesses say 3 masked men held up the business office at the track. At the time of the robbery, there were 2 employees along with security staff on the premises.
3 individuals allegedly came and they robbed the racino. No one was hurt, and police are investigating.
News 2 was told that those 3 men were armed with handguns, and according to officials, they got away with money from the racino's operations, though that amount hasn't been released.
It was an undetermined amount of money.
DV Casino oversees the racino. The racino is where the track's gambling operations take place. There are slot machines as well as areas for people to place bets on horses, and those activities bring in a good amount of money. For security reasons, the casino spokesman couldn't say whether or not there were cameras around or what leads the police may be following, but anyone who has information is urged to contact the police department. Reporting for News 2, I'm Erica Parsons.
Now, anyone with information about this robbery or any other crime, you're urged to contact major crime detectives. You can also call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS to provide the information confidentially. Planning and Natural Resources Commissioner Alicia Barnes is stepping down after 2 years at the department's head. Barnes submitted a letter of resignation to Governor John DeYoung on Tuesday, and he accepted the notice. Barnes' resignation is effective at the end of this month. Governor DeYoung tapped Barnes in 2011 to replace the retiring commissioner, Robert Mathis. Prior to that, she had served as the assistant CEO of the Economic Development Authority. The governor's office expects to name an acting commissioner for DPNR by the time Barnes leaves. The Virgin Islands Archive Council is active once again. The newly reorganized group met last week for the second time this year after being reactivated by Governor John DeYoung in May. The council's primary responsibility is custody and preservation of the territory's archives and providing access to those collections. They also manage government records and make recommendations to the governor regarding that management. The council will also act as the State Historical Records Advisory Board. The reactivated council met right before the launch of the Danish West Indian Records digitization project website. It's just one of the projects the council will be monitoring. A St. Croix native is debuting her fine art photography collection at the Buccaneer on Thursday. Photographer Norma Kreeger said St. Croix gave her the vision for the Caribbean Legacy collection. There are prints, mini coffee table books, and postcards that feature St. Croix's history and architecture. The first installment being released from the collection is called Visions, St. Croix Virgin Islands, 1700s to the present.
The images have never been seen before, and I wanted to come home and have them premiered here. And the Buccaneer is a debut, and that's from 6 to 8. I've always been passionate about my heritage, always channeling when I came back or when I lived here for long periods of time, ancestors. And I also was trained in photography, and I hadn't been using it a lot, but over the years I started to develop that again because it's another one of my loves. And I just had this burning desire to put together a collection of those images that took my breath away. And once I started the collection, it just took a life of its own.
Ms. Kreeger will also be at Club Comanche on Saturday from noon to 4 with her collection. On Monday, the 21st, she will be at Sandcastles from 6 to 8 p.m. and Thursday, the 24th, at Undercover Books from 3:30 to 5. Just a correction in some other news to Wednesday night's newscast. We told you that the Smith-Frederick gubernatorial team is challenging Lieutenant Governor candidate Basil Otley's residency. They are actually challenging his bona fide residency, which state very clear qualifications to be considered a bona fide resident. The Smith camp filed an appeal with the boards of elections this week after receiving the election supervisor's July 8th decision deeming Otley eligible to run. Some unfortunate news for residents who need to obtain emergency passports. On Friday, the offices of Delegate Donna Christensen as well as the Office of the Lieutenant Governor received word from the U.S. Department of State that effective July 11th, citizens needing to obtain emergency passports will have to travel to a newly opened passport office in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Before Friday's notice, applicants applying for an emergency passport would be referred by the Lieutenant Governor's passport office to one of the delegates' district offices in St. Thomas or St. Croix. The documents would then be mailed by the delegate's office to Miami. However, Department of State says mailing the applications and the supporting documents makes them vulnerable and represents a risk in the process. Applicants would now need to travel directly to San Juan to obtain their emergency passports. Count on two to keep you updated. A bill on workplace bullying was held in committee Tuesday after hours of discussion. The Senate Committee on Health, Hospitals, Human Services, and Veterans Affairs met Tuesday night to consider the measure. The bill, if passed, would provide remedies for bullying in the office or work environment. Legal experts had issues with the bill, mainly concerns over subjectivity of the language and in its ambiguity. Senators Roach and Nelson said the measure needs more work, but found it more important to enforce similar laws already on the books. Senator Myron Jackson, chairman of the 30th Legislature's Committee on Culture, Historic Preservation, Youth, and Recreation, wants to alert the community that the senior lunch program at St. Ursula's Church and Multipurpose Center in St. John has resumed after 8 months. Now, 2 months ago, Senator Jackson's office became aware that seniors went days without eating meals due to administrative and financial challenges. The stalled lunches were caused when the Department of Human Services discontinued a multi-purpose grant awarded to St. Ursula's on November 8, 2013, citing budgetary cuts. Seniors were advised to bring their own lunch or purchase it, according to the center staff, and that caused some former program beneficiaries to stay away. Turning our attention overseas, intelligence sources tell CBS News a surface-to-air missile brought down Malaysia Airlines Flight 17. The plane crashed in a field in eastern Ukraine near the Russian border. Some of the debris at the site is barely recognizable. 295 people were on board the Boeing 777 traveling from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur. A Ukraine government advisor says the missile was fired from a Buk launcher. Government forces and pro-Russian separatists who have been fighting in the region both deny involvement. Malaysia's prime minister says it's critical an international team has full access to the scene. Malaysia says Ukraine's president has promised to negotiate with rebels to establish safe access to the crash site. Be sure to tune in to CBS Evening News at 7:30 for more. Meanwhile, keeping our eye on the economy, Microsoft has announced it will eliminate up to 18,000 jobs within the next year. That's about 14% of the company's workforce. The technology giant is integrating the Nokia devices businesses it purchased this past spring. The job market appears to be gaining some momentum. The Labor Department says weekly applications for unemployment fell last week, and experts say hiring is at its healthiest clip since the late 1990s. Employers added jobs in June. It was the 5th straight month of job gains above 200,000. Here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. Everything down. The Dow there at 161, NASDAQ 62, S&P 23. Coming up on News 2, Juvenile Investigation Bureau detectives on St. Croix and St. Thomas, they're asking the community's assistance in locating two 17-year-old missing females. Details coming up next.
Investigation Unit detectives are concerned with the welfare of Alexander and Escobar. Detectives said it is imperative that the girls are located as soon as possible for their own safety. Terica Alexander is 6 foot tall and weighs 190 pounds, and she has short black hair. She's originally from St. Thomas. Ras Jahida Escobar was born on St. Croix. She is 5 foot 5 inches tall and weighs 120 pounds. She has a brown complexion and short hair. Both girls may be wearing a weave, a wig, or extensions to alter their hairstyles. If you have seen or know the whereabouts of Terica Alexander, please contact the Juvenile Investigation Bureau on St. Thomas at 715-5540, 715-5542, or you can call 911. If you have seen or know the whereabouts of Ras Jahida Escobar, please contact the St. Croix Juvenile Investigation Bureau at 778-2211 or call 911.
And we have an update for you on a bone marrow drive for 4-year-old Michaela Francois. As we reported last year in June, she was diagnosed in January with a rare blood disorder called Fanconi anemia. She needs a bone marrow transplant in order to ultimately survive. Michaela's parents, Tino and Tamara Francois, and other family members were tested, but no one was a match after holding a bone marrow drive on St. Thomas, one on St. Croix, and in the U.S. The news came in that a match was found. We will hear from Michaela's mother on Friday's newscast. Well, here's something to do this weekend. Two well-known celebrities arrived at our shores on Tuesday, July 15th. Rappers Young Jeezy and Future, they have both been spotted throughout St. Thomas, and they took many photos with VI locals yesterday. Young Jeezy and Future filmed shots for their music video shoot at various locations. However, the big event is the VI Summer Splash that will be held on Saturday, July 19th at the J-Spot Club. Young Jeezy and DJ Drama will be performing along with many of our local talent, DJ Avalanche, After Dark Empire, and DJ Chubby. And here is something you can do this summer in case you haven't done it as yet. Stop in for a cold drink, some great food, and be sure to feed the pigs a beer. Non-alcoholic, of course, at the Montpelier Domino Club. You can take a nice drive into the rainforest on the west side of St. Croix. You will find the Montpelier Hut Domino Club. The owners of the place were farmers. They had many pigs and had decided to downsize on the number. They had sold almost all of them. Now this is looking back. Miss Piggy and Buster Pig were kept. It happened one fine day that a visitor walked past Buster with a bear in his hand, and Buster helped himself. Buster is now gone. He became history. A small monument in his name is on the property. His relatives, Vic, Jem, and Coco, have now taken over. You can put the unopened beer can in their mouth and they take care of the rest. Well, it's time for our pet of the week, Romeo and Jem. They both stopped by here today to pay us a visit, and we were very entertained by the energetic display of the two. Are you ready to open up your home and heart? They are ready to join your family.
There was a litter of 7. 5 went to Boston. These are the 2 that are left. They are approximately 3 months old. They are definitely ready for adoption. Very playful. Jem has ears that go back and forth. She's adorable. And Romeo just loves to run around and play. If you are interested in any of these dogs, please come down and check them out at the Humane Society. And always, if you need help spay and neutering your pets, please contact us. And come on down, check them out.
They were indeed cute. Flowers take a leading role in creating a picture of an idyllic tropic paradise here in the Virgin Islands. If you purchased a sheet of the July 17th lottery tickets, you'll notice our territory's official flower, the yellow trumpet bush, and many other vibrant images. VI lottery reps say many things can blossom, just like flowers, if you win that grand prize of $175,000. With that in mind, here are the winning numbers.
The VI Lottery presents draw results of today's drawing exclusively on News 2. Here are the top prizes. Fifth prize for $20,000, 01030, 01030. Fourth prize for $30,000, 23507, 23507. Third prize for $40,000, 00788, 00788. Second prize for $65,000, 16864. 16864. And the grand prize for $175,000 is 32692. 32692. If your ticket number wasn't called, keep trying. One of these days, your number could win. The next drawing is July 31st. Play the VI Lottery and imagine the possibilities.
Good luck as you check those tickets. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.